Okay, we're here outside the world-famous Hot Chocolate Sparrow in Orleans, Massachusetts, where I'm going to lay down a little Kevin Warsh riff, and then I'm going to go grab some Panucci fudge for dessert. So there were two big question marks about Kevin Warsh coming into this meeting. Is he the uber hawk, or is his reaction function more dovish? Who is Kevin Warsh? And secondly, is he in control of the FOMC? And I put out a video almost 2 weeks ago now entitled The Lonesome Dove. And in that and in some more detailed research to my institutional clients, I suggested he was the lonesome dove, that he was dovish. He does not want to hike rates, but he's not in charge of this committee, and they are barreling towards a rate hike. And I think that's exactly what we got today. So the market got information on the first point. We can now rule out the tail case that Kevin Warsh is some kind of hawkish maniac who's going to jack rates up to try to crush inflation and throw us into recession. So that tail has receded, and we saw that, I think, reflected in the market price action. But I think the market took more out of this press conference than was really there. Because, yes, the market could see that he's dovish. And ordinarily, when the Fed chair is dovish, you think the Fed's going to be dovish, because for the extent of my career, and probably that of anybody who's watching this, the Fed chair has really been largely in control of the committee. This one is not. So the fact that he leans dovish doesn't really tell us that the Fed's not going to hike rates. In fact, if this is still the Powell Fed, and of course, Jay Powell broke tradition by remaining after his term as chair expired. Why? To protect the institution. He swore he wasn't going to have a little shadow Fed inside the FOMC, but he lied when he said that, apparently, because this is the Powell Fed, which is doing its traditional three-step towards a policy pivot. Step one is you go to a neutral bias. Step two is you signal that you're going to pivot. Step three in September will be the rate hike, unless the data bails out Warsh, but it's going to require either like shockingly weak payroll data or shockingly good inflation data or some combination of the two. Barring that sort of data as we've gotten over the last 3 years, they're going to be hiking in September. So I think the market overreacted to Warsh. While he's dovish, he's not in charge. And if you read the tea leaves, there was plenty in there that suggested that he's getting dragged towards a hike. On the AI CapEx, whether it's a near-term inflationary impulse or a medium-term deflationary impulse because of productivity, in past appearances, he's been very clear that the inflation problem will take care of itself with productivity, which he expects to happen as soon as 6 months from now. Well, he was much more balanced today because he knows he's lost that argument internally. And, there was we've been talking about whether to use the tools, and we're going to talk more intensively in coming weeks. He's trying to tell you he can't stop this train. So the reaction of the long end of the bond market was overblown. Again, there might have been some premium in the long bond for the possibility he was going to crush the economy. I never bought that, but many in the market did. That went by the boards today. But this should not be a yield curve that's going to bear steepen, because if you get stronger data or not great inflation, they're going to hike. There's no scenario in which you get stronger data or worse inflation and the dovish chairman holds off a rate hike because he's not in charge of this committee. So overreaction in the bond market. We found out, as I suspected, Warsh is a dove, but don't think he's running the show. He's not.